thoughts on Hidden Figures 2016 film, 17 November 2024 viewing. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, and I'm going to go through my movie notes for my Sunday, 17 November 2024 viewing of the 2016 film Hidden Figures, which is a biographical film about 3 African-American women working for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration in the 1960s at the junction of applied mathematics and rocket science to assist in keeping astronauts safe. I'm gonna start off by for Oppenheimer, the 2023 film. I mentioned on the cover there was a quote on the front of the cover, the DVD jacket, about it being, one of the best films of the century, and I was like, well, this is also of the same century. So that was 2023 film. This is a 2016 film. Okay, so how the quotes have progressed. So that one was called one of the best of the century. This one is one of the year's most inspiring stories. It's like, my comment is pointing out, okay. That's not okay. Yeah, okay. Alright, so you might not be familiar with me. I am a Euro Native American of Duwamish and Lakota ancestry. The Duwamish tribes of this Coast Salish people here in Washington State, and the Lakota are of modern day Washington State, and then the Lakota are of modern day Minnesota. I don't know if the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, I don't know if they've ever hired anybody to date of my race/ethnicity mixture. So it's nice that these women were out there doing this over 60 years ago, but those of us original peoples whose land they took and conquered and colonized, we still are silenced figures. So it's not, well, they might frame it as adversity. It's not like they're Native American, part Native American. All right. And so there was a lot of pure white people and then African American people, but a lack of my race ethnicity. So I just call attention to that. I'm a she, her, hers, and I graduated in the summer of 2015 from the University of Hawaii at Manoa in Manoa, Honolulu, Hawaii. And my degree was a Bachelor of Science in Geology and Geophysics, and I pursued a minor in mathematics as well. And in one of my mathematics classes, and I also took, for fun, a computational physics class. But as part of the classes I chose for my academic minor in mathematics, I chose a computational mathematics, applied mathematics class. And in that class, we learned about Euler's formula. And in this movie, they bring up Euler's method. It's kind of, there's these 3 women who are working in applied mathematics in a rocket space technology kind of setting. And so the kind of big eureka moment in this movie is thinking of Euler's method, which I have experience with. Both I had really great instruction. We had in my course, we actually had to do proofs with Euler's formula / Euler's method, both by hand and computationally. So, meaning with the computer. So this was actually a very, and that eureka moment in this movie is about the approximately 34 minutes left mark, in case you missed it. And she even goes to her office or whatever and pulls a book off the shelf and starts looking up Euler's method, Euler's formula. And this is not my first time watching this, but I remember watching this and I remember being like, it's crazy how much science and mathematics can progress. Right, what I was doing as an undergraduate in 2015 was like cutting edge in NASA in the 1960s, right? So, which was like a really like, I watched this and I was like, it shows that just because something is cutting edge at a certain point in time doesn't mean it stays like the tip top later, right? Like I was learning as an undergrad, so I thought it was a really kind of weird like wake up moment in watching this movie. I was like, wow, this is really rudimentary and really basic, right? Like very, so it was kind of like, that's just something to keep in mind if like I ever were to do something breakthrough in sciences. Just because it's breakthrough at the moment doesn't mean it's breakthrough 60 years later, right? It can be like introductory level in the corresponding discipline. So it was a very interesting one to watch and have that realization. I was like, oh yeah, things keep progressing, which means while it might have been impressive at the time, doesn't mean it's the same later, right? Like per our like at the time evaluation that, you know, for me back in 2015, so I guess that would be over 50 years later, to be fair. This is kind of like, whoa, right? Things have changed. So it was not that what they did wasn't, I would say in watching it, I was like, so a lot of people might have been impressed with the mathematics. It's not necessarily what I was impressed with. I think the thing that stood the test of time from my perspective is applied mathematics is interesting in the sense of, so everybody takes that class and everybody takes, you know, learns about Euler's method and Euler's formula and does the proofs by hand, does the proofs by computer. But do they, when they're put in a certain context, are they smart enough to connect the dots to invoke that method or that formula in that particular context? Right, that's what the breakthrough was for at least one of these ladies, right, is that still stands the test of time, and just basic human intelligence is being able to be like, yes, right? This might not be the cutting edge, and it might not have been back in the 1960s as well, right? But knowing to actually like, that's what we need, right? It's that intelligence of, this is what we need, and let's do it, right? So not only knowing what they need and figuring that out, but also being like, let's do it, right? So I would say that for me kind of is a embodiment of a breakthrough, right? Is even if the science or the mathematics becomes much more basic as things progress, there's still the person who did that still figured out, you know, that breakthrough moment is like, we need this. Whether it's what somebody else came up with, in this case, right? She didn't come up with Euler's formula, Euler's method, somebody else did before her. She came up with the application. So for this movie, the really emphasis here is application, like application part or applied part of applied mathematics in a rocket science context. Okay, so sometimes it's not like science progresses by scientific method. Sometimes it's literally like, use this formula, use this method, we want to move forward, right? So this is a different kind of like science breakthrough in that sense of that, you know, connect the dots, intelligence, that's still, for me, underpinning of a true breakthrough. So there we go. Those are my movie notes on Hidden Figures 2016 film, 17 November 2024 viewing.